Good evening and welcome to Sunday Night Insights. Good evening, especially to those who are tuning in live and to those tuning in another time. Well, it's good to have you on Sunday Night Insights. Here, we take about 25 minutes each Sunday night to speak about leadership and personal growth topics that matter and inspire you towards freedom, flourishing, and fulfillment. Tonight, I'm eager to chat with my friend Ronald Skeete, and the subject matter that we are touching on is navigating obstacles and adversity. Mahatma Gandhi, a world exemplar for navigating social obstacles and systemic adversity, had this to say about the subject. Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. And when you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. Now, adversity comes from the Middle English adversite, meaning opposition, hostility, misfortune, or hardship, which itself is from the Latin adversus, the source of adverse, which means bad or unfavorable, as in adverse criticism or an adverse reaction to the medication. Now, there are many kinds of adversity that human beings face. There is, of course, physical adversity. There is also mental and emotional adversity, and even something called social adversity. So, adversity is any unfavorable circumstance that is faced by you or directed towards you. But adversity does not have to be destructive. It can very much be constructive, shaping and forming and developing you into what you are supposed to be, building muscle in places you didn't know existed. Now, under a certain ancient, transcendent worldview, adversity is not meant to paralyze you. Adversity can be meant to prepare you. There's a scripture in Romans chapter 8, verse 28 that says, all things work for the good of those who love the Lord, those who are called according to his purpose. Now, that's what we're talking about this evening. Overcoming obstacles and adversity. In a word, resilience. Now, I've invited my good friend Ronald Skeete to speak with us from a leadership perspective about the importance of resilience in our personal lives and in our professional lives. Welcome, Ron. Thank you so much for giving us a couple minutes of your time this Sunday night.
What's up, good Dr. Reverend Brother Platt?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I can't call it. It's so good to see you. Hey, just before we logged on and went live, you talked about your family and
Yep.
you went to see a very important movie recently. What was that?
Yeah, Wakanda Forever. We went to see it today. Excellent. Tell your listeners, your viewers, definitely go check it out. It's got a message for everyone.
Yeah, I think it has a very important message, and it inspired me to make sure that we cover some of the themes of that movie in an upcoming Sunday Night Insights. And so I hope everyone will tune in. I don't want to give any spoilers, anything like that, but my family went and watched it. What was it? Friday night, and we just loved it. Now, Ron, you and I have been connected since, I think, 2007, which I offered you a job that you didn't take. But I'm so glad that we are still friends. But I wonder if, other than that little bit of shade that I just threw at you, that you would be willing to tell us a little bit about the Mr. Ronald Skeete.
Sure, Dr. Platt. Listen, brother, it's been a pleasure to know you and watch you lead. So yeah, that is true. 15 years ago, when I relocated with my family and planted down in Atlanta, you were one of the first great brothers that I met. And unfortunately, we didn't connect then, but we reconnected, right? And we
Yeah, in a strong way too. I mean, I've really enjoyed this relationship that we've been able to forge.
Yeah, but I introduced myself. Hey, look, I'm a good brother from the planet Brooklyn. Go Brooklyn. All right, go Nets. And the reality is, when I was coming up, I was able to see what it was like to live in an urban center, see urban blight, see a lot of challenges. I came up during the crack epidemic days. So a lot of those things helped to shape who I am today, being able to navigate, being able to have opportunities from good people, get a chance to increase my awareness through education and then also through good people and networks, which are all part of, this sort of ladder from challenge, or we can call it adversity, to get you to where you are. And, what I tell everybody now is I'm in my ministry. Through this, I've found my ministry, which is helping communities change in a variety of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started out in Brooklyn and now you are in Atlanta. What are the other places that you've been since then and around?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'll go professionally, right? So my professional journey has taken me through. Originally, when I went to school, I thought I was going to do three things. I thought I was going to be a banker. I thought I was going to be rich. And I thought I was going to wear a suit to work every day. So what I tell folks is 1 out of 3 isn't that bad. And if you heard me in any of my speaking engagements, I usually throw that in there, right?
Right.
But what I realized, and again, this speaks to adversity personally and professionally in a way, is that when I went to school, I did what they told me, right? I kept my nose clean, didn't get in trouble. I went to college, got a bachelor's degree in economics. But when I came out into the world, the theory didn't match up the practice, right? So what I thought and envisioned for my life wasn't what I realized when I was meeting with bankers and insurance companies to try and get my first opportunity. It just didn't resonate with my spirit,
Right.
And then I got a chance to work with a small nonprofit in Brooklyn, Science Skills Center. They actually have a high school to this day, which still exists downtown Brooklyn. And that changed my life. So that's where I found my ministry in terms of working with people to affect change in any community.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. Well, I know that you've been able to see people. You have worked in human services for many years. Every time I see you, you are surrounded by people who just want to be near you. People are drawn towards you, and I love to see it. But one of the things that I'm curious about is when you think about overcoming obstacles and adversity, who is your model for that? Who is your exemplar? It could be somebody living, somebody you know, who do you think about? Where do you draw strength?
Oh, sure. I go back to my family. My mother is one of the strongest people I've ever known. She instilled in me at an early age a faith that is unbreakable, and I've seen it through her. My brother,
Yeah.
my older brother, I reference a lot because he's the one that I've seen exemplify that strength and resilience.
Yeah.
Every day, and those two are who I lean on as the examples. Growing up as a person of color, we have our own set of adversities, but every human being on the face of the earth, regardless of color, creed, goes through that moment of challenge. And what I said, we got to get to the point, and I've actually gotten to it just recently. I probably say in the last 10 years, where I realized that we are placed on this earth to solve problems, right? And sometimes we get in a zone, and I was in the zone where I was trying to avoid problems. Like, well, why can't I get to this point of operations or leadership where I just follow the formula and everything fits into place, right?
Yeah.
That's not our purpose. That's not why we are here as human beings. We're here to solve problems, and those problems hit us through what we see as adversity and challenge.
Yeah. Man, that's really great, Ron. I mean, I've never heard anyone put it like that. We were placed on earth to solve problems. I think if there's a banner over any nonprofit executive or any nonprofit organization, they should remember that, because that's the real ethos that drives the nonprofit universe that
Yeah.
you and I live in. We were placed on earth to solve problems. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
expression. Now
I would
you
throw
mentioned
in,
what?
you know, there's a book you've probably seen by McKinsey. It's CEO Excellence. It came out this year that
Mm,
I've been muddling through. I'm not saying this because I eat books like, all of the folks like you with the doctorates and all that good stuff.
oh my
But
gosh.
it's impactful because they looked at 67 CEOs and they came up with 6 mindsets that were very integral to success. So it's not only in the nonprofit world. I always say the nonprofit has its unique set of challenges.
Yeah.
My day job is working with Boys and Girls Clubs. So the CEOs manage budgets, they strategically plan, they grow their talent, but at the same time, they still have to deal with the angry parent who's banging on the door because their child lost their book bag. Right?
Right.
Most CEOs are kind of shielded from that. But one of the things that was important in those 6 mindsets from those CEOs is that they talked about being able to compartmentalize things. Like you may go
Mm,
from board meeting, you may go to from just a healthy quarterly business report to walking into a lawsuit in the same day, and have to be able to stay focused on leadership, because your role as a leader is to ensure that the folks who are giving you the privilege of followership are confident in what you have to do, even at times when transparently you tell them you may not know or cannot guarantee the next step.
yeah. Man, that is so good. I was thinking about a situation today in my life where I had to dig deep. And it was when the data was unclear. There was no guarantee of success,
Mhm.
and I just remember that feeling of being a leader and leading through adversity. Now, just making sure here on the screen, I put what I believe is the exact book you just said,
Oh
CEO
yeah, you got it.
the 6 mindsets that distinguish the best leaders from the rest.
You
Woo!
are good.
Let me see. Okay, man, this thing was published this year. This is hot off the press, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm in. All
And I'm
right.
hoping to give it out to some of the CEOs that I'm working with this year as a year-end gift. Shh, don't tell them yet.
Okay. All right, man. I am definitely getting that. My wife knows I'm in the middle of another book because I do gobble them up. Um, like I mean, she does well. She's been listening to me get that. But man, CEO excellence, the 6 mindsets. I'm on
Well,
Amazon
what's
now, and
interesting, Doc, that I'll say really quick is you
uh,
mentioned, that experience of hitting that challenge, right? That adversity, that wall where, the data that you received was kind of showing you something. I think many of us have been in a situation where what about the data that you used was totally wrong? You found the
woo,
error in it, right? What do you do? Do you make that ethical choice to be transparent and say, look, we got to tell everybody and we have to correct it? Or do you try and muddle through? I mean, those are the things that when it comes to leadership, particularly as CEOs, it also reflects personally. But those are the value moments that show who we are. One of my favorite quotes is from Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that says, "The true measure of a man or woman, we can definitely make it intersectional now, is
mm,
in moments of challenge and not moments of comfort." You know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, in speaking about that, we've talked about um, you know, personal and professional resilience as a means of navigating obstacles and adversity. Can you maybe define resilience for us so that we're all on the same page? When you talk about resilience, what is that?
Sure. When I talk about resilience, what I'm talking about is this thing that we all need, and we should really embrace it and be thankful for it, because it's an integral part of life. We all have it in our journey. It is that challenge, that thing. I heard a good pastor, Pastor Trufant in Brooklyn, Emmanuel Baptist Church, shout out,
Okay.
uh, who said, life is about rituals, schedules, right? Those routines, right? And when we get there, that's our moment of comfort. But then you have these other things that come in from the side, from left field, these challenges and obstacles that now become the problem of the day we have to solve, the problem of the moment. And it's
Yeah.
going to grow us. I talked a little bit about changing from thinking I was going to be a banker to now being a leader in communities and in the nonprofit world. But what that was, I call it my ministry, but others will say they're North Star, right? So when you
Yeah.
get into those routines, those moments of comfort, there's absolutely going to be something that comes through that takes you off track from that North Star. And resilience allows you, like you talked about, to build that muscle. But what I said, when you get to tap into it and you're not afraid of it or trying to avoid those challenges, it allows you to move from surviving to thriving, right?
Yeah.
How can I just get by? How can I just get out of this moment? And not saying that that's not important, because sometimes, yeah, you just got to make it through the day. But
Yeah.
tap into the resiliency. A lot of folks will call it strength, right? When you tap into that, it is the opportunity for you now to move from surviving to thriving. And I
Yeah.
think, when I think of it, there are a couple of key steps in building up that resilience, right?
Yeah. Talk to us about that. I would love to know two or three steps to
Yeah,
cultivating resilience. Share that with us.
absolutely. So, first and foremost, I'll go personal, right? And that's a foundation, right? And my foundation is that faith that I talked about, right? That
Yeah.
belief, that faith that keeps me centered. That, hey, regardless of what the obstacle is, there's another day. There will be light at the end of the tunnel, and that is supported by others. And I call it connection. We have to connect. And when we talk to CEOs and I get the chance to engage them, we want to create cohorts. We want to create supportive groups of CEOs, so you understand, one, you're not the only one going through this.
Mm.
uh, you're not alone in this, and that somebody has experienced this and gotten through it as well, right? And that speaks to faith, that speaks to hope, all of these key things. When we were doing poverty alleviation work together,
Yeah.
uh, it was about helping these families understanding their North Star, and connecting them to other families that had been through those times where they had to, move and couch surf, right? And still try and work and still try and figure out, as they went to a better job, which seemed to be great, would they fall off that benefits cliff, right? And how do they navigate through that? That connection to others helps you to solidify you in that foundation, to ensure that you don't give up in that process.
Oh, I love it. That's so good. So what I have is having in order to cultivate resilience, we need to have a faith foundation and have connections and cohorts, networks around us, so that we're reminded that we are not alone. Let me ask you this, Ron. Would you say that there is a different approach, or is it the same, for overcoming obstacles in your personal life versus your professional life? Is there a different approach? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're very similar in terms of a foundation and your support. And I call it the connections, right?
Yeah.
I think personally, again, I spoke to mine, that faith foundation, and then the people that I surround myself with in terms of that
Mm.
network. I've leaned back and I've been able to see and got this epiphany that I'm connected to everybody I need to know, right? It's kind of like the 6 degrees of separation. So when there's a challenge, I can just go through, whether it's the LinkedIn network, to get to that. But the same thing profession, right? So when we talk about leaders of organizations, it can be a very, 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 did I say very? It
Very.
can be a very lonely place. You know it
Yeah.
well. uh,
Yeah.
and the when we get stuck in that lonely place and we figure that it's on ourselves, and we can't share with anybody, and this is very similar in your personal life, that we fall into a trap and it's hard to get out of. But when you start to look at the foundation for a company, it may be its foundation in terms of why it exists, right? And that support, that first level support, may be that executive team, right?
Right.
That's in the C-suite with you, the hand-picked folks that you've brought on board to help lead and guide and provide wise counsel to you, right? But that connection is essential locally, and then also expanding on that, because locally, you may only get the same sort of mindset and answers that you've seen before, right? So the
Yeah,
more you can kind of tap into an expansive connection, the more it's going to help you get through that moment.
man, that is so good, Ron. One of the things that comes to mind, I know that when you're maybe an older teenager or a younger adult, independence is the thing that you want, right? Like I'm an independent person. I'm making my
Yeah,
own money. I'm paying my own bills. But as you get older and wiser, if you want to cultivate resilience, you need to be not independent, but interdependent.
absolutely.
Connected with a network, having a cohort of people to guard against that feeling of loneliness.
Yeah.
And like you said, that those connections are a building block for resilience. Now, let me ask you this, Ron, because we're coming towards the end of our time together. It goes
Already?
fast, doesn't
Oh,
it?
man.
Yeah, man. Hey, all right. So I'm interested in where you picked up this knowledge. Where in your life have you had to dig deep? If you can share with me just real quick about resilience in your own life.
Oh, yeah.
Where did you learn?
Absolutely. It's like, do you want it in alphabetical order or not, right? I will tell you two things. I'll tell you professionally and personally, right? So professionally, I was doing my thing, came down to Atlanta, relocated the family, accelerating on the nonprofit trail, worked in the foundation, did this, and then got to what I thought was my North Star, the highest level, right? I was CEO of a nonprofit here in Atlanta. And I checked it off. I did it. But again, similar to, when I talked about getting out of college and when your expectations don't align with what you think the mission is, right?
Yeah.
As the faith-based folks says, we make plans and God laughs. But, I was there, the pinnacle, yay. And then what happened is, after about a year or so, it just was not a good situation,
Yeah.
They said, look, we want to make some changes. We're thinking about maybe moving away from a CEO position. I'm like, wait a second, you got to be kidding me. So, I declined that, but, that was a choice now with my family who is relocated. I'm sitting on the couch for a couple of months trying to figure things out. And again, it went back to my foundation, my faith foundation, which kept me, of course, my wife and my family. But that goes to the connection, right? So the foundation and the connections allow you to get through and thrive, because I got to others who poured into me, said, hey, don't worry about it. I had folks who were throwing other opportunities at me right away. But I also will say this, I'm glad that, the way God worked it out, I didn't jump into them right away, because I would have taken the baggage from the
Yeah.
previous experience with me. Get some time to decompress. Personally,
Oh,
and folks who know me, lost my younger nephew earlier this year, unexpectedly, and big hit on my family. But again, that foundation helped to keep us all. And then the connections of the people, the outpouring of love and support from friends and family and others
yeah.
sharing their stories. So we were able to kind of lean on them. And that's the way that it helped me to get through, and helping me to get through every day.
Yeah.
Still need it. And also professional support, right? CEOs get consultants like the Polaris practice, going through this personally. I and as well as a few of my family members, we went and got therapists, to
Yeah.
help us through this journey, because they have the words, the skills. We don't have to figure it out ourselves. So again, moving away from that lonely place, which may feel comfortable, but it will be detrimental to the growth that we have to achieve.
Man. Yeah, that's honest reflection, and it is completely aligned with what you have shared with us tonight about resilience being cultivated when we have a good foundation and we have a good connection with the people around us. Ron, thank you so much for your time with us tonight. Is there a way that folks can contact you if they're interested in having you as a guest speaker or chatting with you about these subjects?
Oh, sure. What I would just say, LinkedIn is probably the best place to find me. Ronald Skeete. You go on LinkedIn, you can find me there, and we can connect there.
Yeah, thank you again, Ron. I'm so appreciative for your time, and I'm going to say goodbye for now. And I just want to let you know how much I value our relationship and how much I appreciate you, Ron. Thank you so much for
Same here,
being
good
a
brother. Thanks so
solid,
much for
encouraging
having
brother.
me.
Yeah, man, you got it. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Make sure that you are standing on a firm foundation and that you are connecting with the people around you. We will see you next week right here on Sunday Night Insights. And you don't want to miss my interview with Mrs. Sheena Marcus. We're going to be talking about life purpose and fulfillment. And while we're talking about life purpose and fulfillment, I want to let you know that Leadership Gold is one of John Maxwell's greatest bestsellers. It's a must read for any aspiring leader. And one of the things that I want to do as we get into the month of December is to have a mastermind group. And I have about 3 spaces left. If you are interested in going through that book with me in about 4 sessions, I would invite you to reach out to me at Marion@thepolarispractice.com. That's Marion@thepolarispractice.com. If I have said before, if I had to assign one book for any leader who is starting their leadership journey, whether they're in middle management or whether they're CEO, I would tell them you need to spend time in Leadership Gold. So if you are interested in joining with that, you can reach out at right here on this Facebook page or in the YouTube link. You can contact me, but Marion@thepolarispractice.com, and I'll get you signed up. Again, we have 3 more spaces. I hope that you'll join us. The Lord bless you. It's so good having you this evening. Have a wonderful night. See you next Sunday.
Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one that you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend, Dr. Marion Platt.
Where does a coach belong? Should they be ahead of you, clearing the path for you, or behind you, cheering you on? Actually, it's neither. The coach's place is by your side, helping you find your footing each step of the way. Hi, I'm Marion, a Maxwell Leadership Certified coach, speaker, trainer, and teacher. I'm passionate about personal development in all its forms, but my specialty is coaching. I get up each morning excited because I get to watch my clients achieve their goals. There's nothing quite as satisfying as walking alongside someone as they become the person they want to be. And if you have a goal that you're striving toward, or even if you're just looking for some direction on your way, I want to partner with you in that process. John Maxwell has been one of the world's foremost leadership and personal growth experts for more than 40 years. And as a Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach, I am uniquely and powerfully resourced to help you accomplish anything. What does your dream need from you? What do you need to do? Who do you need to meet? Where do you need to spend your time and resources? As your coach, I'll be here to guide you toward your answers to these questions. I want to help you make the uncertain certain. Together, supported by proven, effective self-development principles, we will put a plan in place that grows you steadily toward your goal. The greatest investment you can make is in yourself. Let's make it together. Contact me today to start making your dreams a reality.